In Mexico, the Chamber of Deputies will vote on Monday on the reform of the mining law and the protection of lithium and hydroelectric plants. Organizations and representatives of the native peoples of Colombia will meet Monday in the Department of Nariño to kick off the National Indigenous Summit. The Russian Ministry of Defense denounced that the Ukrainian forces are organizing a false flag operation with the aim of attacking churches and making Moscow's troops responsible for it. Hi, this is From the South. I'm your news anchor, Diego Martin, from the TeleSUR studios in Havana. We begin with the news. In Mexico, the Chamber of Deputies will vote on Monday on the reform of the mining law and the protection of lithium and hydroelectric plants. The coordinator of the parliamentary group of Morena, Ignacio Mier Velasco, confirmed that the Chamber of Deputies received on Sunday night the mining law reform. Regarding the initiative presented by President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, Velasco stated that lithium represents a strategic role in the Mexican energy transition. Therefore, its exploitation should be the exclusive right of the Mexican state. Now, President López Obrador affirmed during his morning conference on Monday that the approval of this reform will only benefit the country's development.
We have an initiative, which today, if so decided in the Chamber, will be discussed for us to nationalize lithium. It is that clear, and that it should only be used for the benefit of national development.
Likewise, the Mexican president said that the non-approval of the electricity reform on Sunday in Congress represents an act of treason in defense of foreign companies that are involved in stealing the country's energy resources.
I consider what happened yesterday as an act of treason against Mexico, committed by a group of legislators who, instead of defending the interests of the people or the nation, instead of defending the common good, became unspoken defenders of foreign companies that are dedicated to profit, to steal, and these deputies supported those plunderers.
Keeping up with Mexico, in the north of the country, armed subjects assassinated the commander of tactical operations of the State Investigation Agency and also his wife. The events took place on Sunday in the border city of Juarez. The commander, Emmanuel Ortiz, was about to get into his car when he was gunned down by armed men who also killed his wife and injured another woman. The State Attorney General's office condemned the attack. Later, the security forces initiated an operation and captured 3 alleged suspects. The judicial and criminal proceedings are ongoing. The National Workers' Union of Panama demanded to eliminate the discriminatory treatment against Cuban citizens severely affected by visa restrictions. In a letter sent to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Isthmus, Erika Moines, signed by its Secretary General, Alfredo Grael, the trade union organization asked to rectify the measure implemented with several modifications on March 8th. The trade unionists expressed their concern for the new requirements for Cubans making a stopover in Panama to continue their trip to third countries. They consider that it is not consistent with a foreign policy based on reciprocity and Latin American integration between brotherly peoples. The text specifies that this responds to a measure subordinated to an aggressive strategy of the blockade maintained by the United States against Cuba, a country that, for the Panamanian trade unionists, is a symbol of dignity and resistance in the region. In the new wave of rocketing violence ongoing in Ecuador, the police of Esmeralda province confirmed a new massacre in the neighborhood Montesinaí, where 7 members of a family were killed. Police confirmed that on Sunday evening, a group of armed men broke in the family's residence located in a district on the southern outskirts of Esmeralda city. The assailants then murdered the mother, the father, the pair's 3 descendants and son-in-law, and a 2-year-old baby whose relation to the other victims is still yet to be clarified. The commander of Esmeralda Police, Colonel Luis Buitron, also commented on the state of the sole survivor of the massacre, a 3-year-old girl. The national crime rate has experienced an exponential increase in the past months, and Esmeralda province is among those most affected. When inquired by the media at the scene of the crime, the police chief assured that the family's ties to illegal activities are linked to the gruesome events, though at the time a formal investigation was yet to be set in motion. The Brazilian Workers' Party denounced President Jair Bolsonaro before the High Electoral Court for early campaigning. The action of the PT against Bolsonaro comes after the president led on Friday a caravan of at least 3,700 motorcycles in the city of Sao Paulo. The legal representatives of the political party pointed out that the head of state called and participated in the event and offered a speech asking for votes. They also discarded that the event could be considered as an errand to his post as a head of state. According to the Sao Paulo Public Security Secretariat, the event cost taxpayers $200,000. Truckers' guilds in Paraguay announced mobilizations and roadblocks for Monday in several points of the country, protesting against the rise in fuel prices. The truckers' guilds approved the activities for an indefinite time during a meeting on Saturday. The sector affirmed it will stay mobilized until it receives a favorable answer from the executive. Activists also condemned the detention of leaders under alleged charges of blackmail and demanded authorities to provide evidence that supports the claims. In this scenario, it is expected that on Monday a draft bill will be presented to Congress seeking to avoid the on and off closing of highways. The current law states that those who incur and take part in roadblocks can face up to 5 years in prison. In Bolivia, in a rally of the Unity Pact Party, former President Evo Morales called on its leadership not to be confused by the lies and intrigues of right-wing coup plotters and their media. The former Bolivian president said that the unity of the popular blocs of the movement for socialism is intact, indicating that the organizations work hand-in-hand with the government. Morales recalled that the movement is a living apolitical organization that debates and resolves its contradictions internally, while stressing that when it comes to defend the sovereignty, dignity, and economy of the Bolivian people, it acts with truth, unity, and solidarity, without pettiness or falsehood. However, the former head of state called on the militancy of the movement for socialism, political instrument for the sovereignty of the peoples, to remain alert in the face of divisive attempts of the right-wing coup. We're going to take a short break now. Please join us again after this. Hi, and welcome back to From the South. Organizations and representatives of the native peoples of Colombia will meet Monday in the Department of Nariño to kick off the National Indigenous Summit. The event, through Thursday, April 21st, in the Guacharo Pastor Peoples Reservation in Nariño, hosts the delegates of the indigenous peoples and organizations who will discuss various topics related to the strengthening of indigenous policies, human rights, and the implementation of the peace agreements. They will also present their ideas on the constitutional rights of indigenous peoples enshrined in the 1991 Constitution, which recognizes the ethnic multiplicity of the country and allows them to participate in public life and national politics. However, these population groups continue to suffer stigmatization, segregation, and racism despite provisions in the current Constitution. The United Socialist Party of Venezuela began on Monday the sessions of the plenary of the Fifth Congress, where the organization's new code of ethics will be presented for approval. The first vice president of the party, Diosdado Cabello, informed all of the party's bases will gather in Caracas Monday, and the plenary will settle on Tuesday. The socialist leader indicated that the approval of the aforementioned code is among the main topics in the agenda. The code, affirmed Cabello, will be an effective tool in the fight against corruption, criminality, and bureaucracy. The new document that is pending the plenary's approval is part of a larger set of actions designed and carried out by the political bloc seeking to tackle processes among the party's ranks that don't align with its principles. Argentinian President Alberto Fernandez will host talks with Ecuadorian counterpart Guillermo Lasso addressing bilateral relations. The appointment is set to cover topics concerning security, migration, organized crime, and anti-corruption measures. A joint statement signed by both heads of state is expected. The meet is part of Lasso's first official visit to Buenos Aires. Also, during the exchange, the foreign affairs chiefs of both countries will sign a consular agreement, while other high officials will proceed to focus on common agenda issues covering the sectors of telecommunications, foreign trade, agriculture, fishing, and productivity. Iranian President Sayed Ebrahim Raisi said on Monday that if Israel makes the slightest mistake against the sovereignty of the country, Iranian armed forces will respond forcefully. The president made the statement in his speech at the Iranian Army National Day Parade. The Persian head of state highlighted the tactical, operational, and logistical capabilities of the Iranian armed forces. He said that in spite of the illegitimate sanctions imposed by the United States, the army has maintained all its capabilities. Recalling that Washington had acknowledged the failure of its strategy, Raisi assured that Iran's military industries are in the best possible condition and maintained the level reached in previous years regarding the manufacture of key military equipment, which he said they would not hesitate to use against Tel Aviv and anyone who may attempt to attack the republic. The violence against Muslim worshippers on the esplanade of the mosque in Jerusalem could Israel's coalition government, as on Monday the Israeli party Joint Arab List announced its decision to temporarily withdraw from the coalition. Although the party's leader Mansour Abbas has called for calm, some of the four lawmakers have said that they may permanently leave the coalition. This decision, taken by the Shura Council of the Southern Islamic Movement, could end up unbalancing the Israeli executive, for just 2 weeks ago the Prime Minister's Yamina party had lost its majority. The Joint Arab List has denounced the violence of the last days exercised by the occupying troops against Palestinian citizens amid the festivities of the holy month of Muslims. China People's Assembly began a new session on Monday that will focus on reviewing a bill to introduce tougher rules against trafficking women. On Monday, the session began by presenting the text to be submitted for a second reading. It proposes to create a mandatory detection and reporting mechanism that seeks to quickly identify and deal with crimes against women, including trafficking. It guides marriage registration institutions, local governments, and women's associated trafficking or kidnapping. This bill comes amidst calls from experts to crack down on trafficking in women, rescue kidnapped women, and increase penalties for buyers who often rape, forced labor, and mistreat victims. And the government of Sri Lanka will negotiate a loan with the International Monetary Fund in view of the country's economic crisis. The first round of talks with the International Monetary Fund will be held on Monday in Washington, D.C., capital of the United States, and will last until April 24th. The Ministry of Finance of the African country indicated that during the last 6 days, discussions were held at a technical level with officials from the International Monetary Fund. It is an Asian country. Sri Lanka's authorities indicated that they will request a loan of $4,000 million from the financial organization, following the government's suspension of the payment of the foreign debt. We have more news coming up after one final short break. Please stay with us. Hello and welcome back. The Russian Ministry of Defense denounced that the Ukrainian forces are organizing a false flag operation with the aim of attacking churches and making Moscow's troops responsible for it. Russian military authorities said on Monday that Kiev is planning provocations with the support of Western countries in the regions of Zaporizhia, Nikolaev, Odessa, Sumy, and Kharkiv, including artillery attacks on Orthodox churches during the Easter night of April 23rd, which will involve the participation of several journalists who will have to amplify the fake news. The official also warned the United States of America that Moscow has hard evidence of the crimes planned by the Ukrainian regime and urged the United Nations and other international organizations to speak to President Volodymyr Zelensky and prevent him from violating international humanitarian law. On Monday, the Russian Defense Ministry confirmed that 2 Ukrainian MiG-29 and 1 Ukrainian Sukhoi-25 aircraft were shot down in the eastern Ukrainian city of Izium in the Donetsk region. In the morning press briefing, Russian Defense Minister's spokesman Igor Konashenkov said that with the help of Iskander missiles, Russian armed forces destroyed 4 munition and military equipment warehouses as well as 3 concentration points for Ukrainian fighters. The spokesman said 11 drones were shot down and at least 10 large-caliber missiles were intercepted mid-air. Konashenkov said Russia had destroyed 16 other facilities, including 5 Kiev-run command posts and another 3 warehouses. Also on Monday in Kharkiv, eastern Ukraine, members of a neo-Nazi Azov battalion tore down the monument to Marshal Grigory Zhukov, who defeated German troops during World War II. According to local authorities, the monument was demolished without their consent by the Kraken detachment, which is part of the well-known neo-Nazi Azov battalion. This monument had already been attacked in 2019 by Ukrainian radical ultranationalists who have sought to remove any mention of who defeated the Nazis, but fortunately it was restored soon after. The daughter of the Soviet marshal reacted to the events and promised to restore said monument. For the past 8 years, the city of Donetsk in the Donbass has been under attack by Ukrainian artillery located just a few kilometers away. The roar of the cannons has become a routine of terror there. A TeleSUR team visited the area and brings us more details.
Here in Donetsk, anyone who wants to experience the adrenaline rush of Ukrainian artillery need only hop on an electric trolley and travel about 20 minutes to any neighborhood in the northwest. This is the Kievsky district. Footprints are everywhere, some from just a few days ago. Most here are families of coal miners, which has always sustained the local economy. Valentin is a local neighbor, a welder by trade, and he leads this tour of the daily horrors.
That's the kind of shit we get all the time. That was 2 weeks ago. A house is revealed and built again. Walk around and take a look. I will take you even further. I will show you where the houses have already been rebuilt and they're building them again.
This working class man has a clearer picture than any of the Western political leaders.
Who started this in the world? The United States but Ukraine. The country was sold and the bomb started. The war broke out. This, in principle, everyone understands. Who does not understand? Of course, we will live peacefully, as we have lived peacefully before, and we live peacefully afterwards. But first, we have to get all the banderas come out of Ukraine and also out of Europe.
These buildings are almost all abandoned. The neighborhood polyclinic is in ruins. After the 2014 and 2015 attacks, most of the inhabitants replaced their windows only to see them destroyed again.
The territory of the cities of Donetsk People's Republic, such as Donetsk, Makeyevka, Yasinovata, Boguchayevsk, Orlivka, and numbers of other settlements, are subjected to almost daily killings by the Ukrainian armed formations. The civilian population continues to suffer, as it has for the past 8 years. In particular, residential neighborhoods in the dormitory areas of Donetsk. We are with you today at the place where the Ukrainian armed formations entered. There was a hurricane fire with multiple rocket launchers, which resulted in the destruction of a 9-story building, which you can see behind.
There is no military to attack here, only families and retirees who live by the trees.
The houses are destroyed. That was 3 weeks ago. A shell hit my house here. It's there. I never thought that our Ukraine would bomb. There is nothing you can do. We will put up with it. But we have to finish the bastard off. Get these Ukrainians come out of our lives. My husband is Russian and I am Ukrainian. Now we will be alone. I hope we will do well. Let's raise our country. Let's raise, let's raise, let's raise. Let the people of the world know what we are doing. Only nobody believes us, of course. Well, they will take now off at the Kiev, but we will leave if they do not kill us. There is not much time left. We will restore everything, just we need time, strength and health.
Like everyone else here, she knows that a new hail of shells is imminent when the battle for Avdiivka, a few kilometers to the north, begins. Christian Inostroza and Alejandro Kirk, TeleSUR, Donetsk, Donbass.
We've come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at TeleSUR English. You can also join us on social media for all the latest news. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. For TeleSUR English, I am Dio Martin. Thank you for watching.